Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. The Honourable Audley Shaw, Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, Premier of Montserrat, Honourable Donaldson Romeo, Chief Minister of Anguilla, Honourable Victor Banks, Chief Secretary of Tobago, Honourable Aubrey London, Honourable Ministers from CDB member countries, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, distinguished governors of the Caribbean Development Bank, members of the Board of Directors, Vice President of the World Bank, Jorge Familiar, other representatives of the development community, members of the diplomatic corps, vice presidents and other members of staff, observers and guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Minister Shaw started off by saying, I'm a young man. And in reviewing the history of this great institution, the agreement was signed in 1969 in October in Jamaica. It took effect in 1970. And so you are 46 years old. I was about to say that this institution is not a young institution. But then again, I'm only 44. So, based upon the minister's pronouncement, you're a young institution. But you have achieved much. You are a representative of the independence of the Caribbean region, of the CARICOM region, and a very important institution for regional integration. I want to congratulate Dr. Smith on his re-election last November to a second 5-year term as president of the Caribbean Development Bank. The Caribbean Development Bank is a manifestation of what we can achieve as Caribbean people through thoughtful collaboration and reciprocal cooperation. It is an example of regionalization and integration that works. However, the CDB is not simply a regional financial institution, but a place for indigenous and original research and economic thought. The CDB has had an illustrious history over the past 46 years, contributing to Caribbean growth and development, led by outstanding Caribbean personalities since the inception of the CDB. The founding president of the CDB, our own homegrown Nobel laureate, Sir Arthur Lewis, a man of towering intellect, had a profound impact on our region, and his influence extended across the world. Mr. William Demas, who followed as president, was a distinguished economic scholar and Caribbean leader. Sir Neville Nichols, an eminent servant of the Caribbean people and leader in public policy. Dr. Compton Bourne, an accomplished academic and regional economic leader. And now, Dr. Warren Smith, an eminent line of Caribbean economic thinkers. Jamaica, and indeed the region, takes great pride in the Caribbean Development Bank and its enduring achievements over the last 46 years. The CDB has done well in serving its member states, and I believe I speak on behalf of all the leaders of the Caribbean in saying that we expect an even more impactful future for the bank. So let me again extend congratulations to Dr. Smith as he leads the bank at a challenging time for Caribbean states. After approximately 50 years of independence as a region, the Caribbean has recorded impressive developments in an array of social and economic indicators, such that the region has graduated to a category as classified by international development institutions, where it no longer qualifies for certain types of assistance. However, while we can take pride in this progress, the region finds itself in challenging and uncertain times, as our development has not always been financed through productivity and economic growth. Much of our development has been achieved through the accumulation of debt. And this is certainly the case for Jamaica, as it is for many member countries of the CDB. These high levels of debt pose an existential threat to our economies and have the potential to retard and even reverse social and economic development. Management of the regional economy through this period of high debt must be among the highest priorities of the Caribbean Development Bank at this time. Now, some of us as regional leaders would find it hard to deny that we have made some bad choices in our fiscal management and economic affairs. In Jamaica's case, some of our debt has even come from the socialization of private debt. However, it is important to note that the accumulation of debt as a region cannot all be attributed to profligacy or weak management or poor governance. On the contrary, much of the debt that we carry has been as a result of vulnerabilities to natural disasters, has been as a result of exposures to the vagaries of international commodity markets, has been as a result of exposures to international financial crises. The challenge to the Caribbean is to achieve economic stability underpinned by a sustainable path to debt reduction while pursuing policies that promote economic growth. So as we say in Jamaica, we have to ride and whistle and probably chew gum at the same time. Jamaica has shown that a societal resolve to economic reform structured around debt reduction is an attainable goal. While we remain vulnerable, important strides have been made in this regard. However, Jamaica's economy has also shown that such strategies in isolation are insufficient. No growth austerity is unsustainable and not an option. Economic growth is paramount in reducing debt to sustainable levels. The countries of the Caribbean region must pursue economic growth, and the multilateral agencies and our friend in the CDB must stand with the leaders of the Caribbean in promoting policies for economic growth, which is inclusive and sustainable. Given fiscal limitations, growth cannot be stimulated by counter-cyclical spending. Instead, growth has to be led by a risk-taking and dynamic private sector. However, this does not often happen automatically, and the governments of the region need to pursue policies that improve enabling environments, remove distortion, attack corruption, improve labor productivity, improve national security, and attract greater foreign investment. This is no easy task, and the CDB has a crucial role to play in the transformation of thought and policy that is required. Some correctly postulate which comes first. Is it debt reduction or is it growth? Can the twin objectives be simultaneously achieved? The answer is yes. However, they won't be achieved through conventional thinking and incremental measures. Bold and innovative thought is required. Thought that leverages the strength of our international development partners and the enduring fabric of our bilateral relationships. While debt forgiveness is not on our policy menu, for emphasis, let me repeat, the region cannot consider a strategy of debt forgiveness. However, a debt for policy swap could be one way in which we could creatively look at reducing the high levels of debt that plague the region. While we rely on foreign investment for growth, we must also concentrate resources on policies that transform our domestic economies, policies that reduce public bureaucracy, reform our tax systems, promote economic efficiency, and broaden access to finance and ensure financial inclusion. The CDB has a role too in helping the region to think through reform to its institutions that favor increased trade amongst its member states and policies that maximize the use of our productive assets, chief among which our people. The CDB must also focus on strategies for the diversification of the regional economy, consistent with our comparative and competitive advantages. In closing, the Caribbean region is definitely poised as the next region to transition from developing to developed. We have everything in our favor. The greatest obstacle would be our high debt. And this is where greater thought is needed in policy options to help us to transition. So I end where I started. The CDB has had an illustrious line of great thinkers, starting with our own Nobel laureate in economics. It must spend more time, more effort, more resources on thinking through the solutions to this one major existential threat to our transitioning from developing to developed. And that is my small charge to this great Caribbean institution. Again, I welcome you to Jamaica, and I look forward to at least observing the deliberations as they go forward. Thank you.